because I think you're just a slick motherfucker. I think you're an opportunist. Okay, sorry about that. I was talking to myself. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. Um, I think integration was a failure overall. This idea that somehow we can all work together, this and that, and make a better system. Integration is a lie because there's always going to be a majority. There's always going to be a so-called HNIC out there who's going to be running the show. And there's going to be a group of people who are going to be running things. And then other folks are going to have to follow along behind. These BLM protests, it's like you can either have a black person who's on the microphone and all their little white honky followers, or they're going to have an Asian dude who's on the mic and it's nothing but white honky followers. You see what I'm saying? That's not integrate. I mean, that's not integration. That's just subjugation. You see what I'm saying? The idea of integration, this idea that, we're going to have, these different schools where, we're going to have, everyone go to the same type of school, this and that. That's a failure, man. Let me tell you something. That it doesn't work. It just doesn't fucking work, man. And of course, you can blame the socioeconomic issues that people like Vosh can do, but to me, it goes deeper than that. Everybody could have the same fucking house, the same fucking, everybody can be paid the same wage. Everybody could be, and believe me, there are going to be fucking differences. All right. There are. There just are, I can tell you that right now. Because guess what happened in the Soviet Union? Arguably the Soviet Union was more of a version of, was just a continuation of Russian imperialism. I didn't say the Tsar, because it wasn't that, but it was definitely Russian imperialism. Because those that wanted to move up in the system in the Soviet Union, whether that's Kyrgyzstan or Tajikistan or even, the Baltics, you would have to learn Russian. You couldn't, that's not to say they didn't ban other languages. I'm trying to be very careful here. They didn't ban other languages. But to move up in the system, it was understood that you had to learn Russian. There are plenty of Russian folks who live pretty good, relatively speaking. And now, now they're just singing on street corners, this and that, at least according to one documentary I watched. But it's the same type of thing. The United States, let's just face it. The United States is just going to become a country of, divergent groups. The United States will become like any other, multicultural thing where it's just going to break up, It always happens that way. It always does, whether it's Yugoslavia. And I know you can blame NATO, blame all the, blame, the Western media, blame Nazis, blame what you can go ahead and do that all day. And I'll say, yep, that's true. But to say that those issues weren't there in the first place is bullshit. That's a lie. Whether it's between Croatia and Serbia or, there were fucking differences. Of course, I know I'm just an ignorant ass American. And you can just say, well, fuck you. That's fine. You can do that. But at the end of the day, integrating other cultures didn't work. In the 1960s, there was a movement where they're basically saying, people, they're erasing Hrvatska, which as far as I know is the Croatian language. And basically they had riots over this and that. A lot of the colleges were, were acting a damn fool, this and that. And what Tito did was basically, okay, we're not going to get rid of it, this and that. And, ultimately they had a book that came out not too long after that in the 1960s, I think still, where it said, this is the official Hrvatska language. You have to think about things like that. Even South Africa, and I know that I'm not going to go on about Boers and Afrikaners. No. I'm not going to talk about that. This isn't 2015. But I will talk about between the Bantus and the Zulus and the and folks that, sometimes this is something that Wignets used as an argument as well was, of course, using the I can't think. I'm bugging. God damn. Anyway, but the Zulus aren't getting their land. The Zulus want their land too, and Bantu say, "Man, fuck you." They ain't give it. The Zulus are seen as that. The Khoisan, that's it. Yeah, the Khoisan, the more light skinned folks. And it's like there's plenty of beef that goes on between those groups as well. Now, of course, that's a whole different type of thing, but I'm just saying is that these differences definitely exist. And these different type of subgroups, and this lefty idea that's like, oh well, yeah, the Khoisan. There we go. Yeah, thank you. I don't know what the deal is with StreamYard, but they delayed the yeah. I mean, that's how I feel. It's like integration is never going to work completely. It won't, because guess what? There's going to be a group of folks that are going to be put in the back room. They're going to be put in the back burner. I am Nazbol Gang, exactly. I'm absolutely Nazbol Gang. But that's the reality. So, I mean, these lefties can talk all day about class consciousness and say, oh, well, yeah, they can talk about intersectionality. That, oh, well, I'm a cis white male, but I'm also homosexual or this and that. I don't give, no one's going to do that in any practical way. All right. I'll just tell you right now. You can talk all day about socioeconomic issues all you want to, but guess what? Native tribes, once this country falls apart, native tribes are going to come out the woodwork and say, no, this is our land. Stay the fuck off. Or I own this casino. I'm going to charge extra for, somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with Boricuas. Boricua, of course, being, Puerto Ricans. They're going to say, hey, get out. I saw this dude, Silver Spook, this Hawaiian dude. He talks about Hawaiian nationalism in a certain way. But of course, he talks about the lefty way, and he's like, "Oh, well, I wouldn't kick white people out, but if you do some imperialist shit, then we'll kick." Stop playing that fucking game. Just say you're going to kick white folks out. Just be honest. Just be honest and say you're going to kick them out, and say, "No, we running these islands." Go ahead and do that. I'd have more respect for you if you said, "No, get the fuck out, cracker." It's the same thing in the African nations. If they said, if they had fully just went full on, just, straight up gulag or straight up just, Stalin type dude with the farmers in Zimbabwe or in Rhodesia, whatever. They should have done that instead of just try to play this pussyfooting game, that Robert Mugabe did, Yeah, I'm Latino because I speak Spanish. Yeah. Boricua Morena. Yeah. It's just big pun. Yeah, I'm Hispanic Juche, exactly. I mean, that's how I feel, man. It's like that's why integration was a failure when it first came about, because we saw that once these schools came into being, it's like the test scores were still not good and everything else. I mean, it's like, and of course, I know people like Vosh will say, no, it's purely the economic factors, socioeconomic factors. Yeah. Che Guevara was awake now. You're right. Yep. I've seen some articles on that. Shout out to, oh man, I can't think of it. That dude who does the Cholo cast. I can't think of his name. I cannot think of his name offhand. Or his handle, I should say, not his actual name. Don't worry. But shout out to him, because I remember I saw a link for that. Yeah, Che Guevara. And, Che Guevara and, I can't even think of it now. Castro definitely had some elements where they liked what Franco was doing in Spain. They don't talk about that. They don't blow, once again, I'm going to sound like Malcolm X now. They don't blow that up. They don't blow that up in the newspapers, do they? No, they didn't, they don't want you to know about that. Yeah, exactly. They were definitely influenced a little bit by Franco. And you can feel as you want to, but still, Spanish dudes going to do what they want, man. Same thing with Hispanic dudes. So at the end of the day, it's like, that's where left-wing dudes always seem to fail. Yeah. Patria o muerte. Patria o muerte. Esta sí. But yeah, I feel like ultimately this is where the left fails. This idea that we can all get along and everything. It's like, as I've always said, yeah, you can go ahead and talk about class consciousness all you want to and say, oh, we're all going to join and rise up and overthrow capitalism. Okay. Yeah, sure. But you think that afterwards, you think it's just going to be, some sort of, yeah. It's going to be some sort of like, we're all going to get along and we're going to do a better integration. Fuck no. Nah. I mean, that's the reality. It's like, I mean, for me as a cracker, that's how I feel anyway. White folks in general, they don't have the cojones to start doing anything against, the rising tide of things. Like I say, the Hispanic dudes, I mean, I think according to a lot of demographics and the way things are, they say that Asians are growing. And of course, Asian, I think, includes India as well. But I think, like I said, Chinese, the Vietnamese, the Filipinos, they stay to their own in general. They stay to their own. They don't, in general, and it's Koreans as well. I didn't mean to leave y'all out. But to me is that they stay to their own. In general, Asians stay to their own. Hispanics, sometimes, they'll get them a cracker, male or female, if they think that they can, move up in the world a little bit, use it as a trophy. It does happen. But, you're going to get more castizos, this and that. But, you're going to get, and also the fact is that, how many Asians do you see cutting lawns? How many Asians do you see that are going out there and, doing drywall or something like that? Not many. Because, Asians, they stay to their own little things. They'll be in tech or they'll be in, certain little fields. Hispanics blend with whites because a lot of them look white anyways. Yeah, exactly. Hispanic isn't a real thing. Yeah, mestizo. Okay. Yeah, okay. Fair enough then. You're right. Like I say, I'm a little bit too much honky, but yeah, Hispanic isn't a real thing. Mestizos, Chicanos, and Castizos. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. That's the whole thing, man. It's like you always hear that from lefties, like, "Oh, we support Chicanos and this and that," but the minute they talk about some, "Hey, cracker, get the fuck out," or "Black man, get the hell out of our neighborhoods," then it starts going bad. And of course, what they'll say is, "Oh, well, they learned imperialism from the Spanish and everything else." No, it's because they come in and you act a fucking fool, and they get tired of it, man. That's the whole thing. So I mean that's kind of the lie that they still preach. This idea that mestizos and Chicanos and Castizos work with black folks and it's all good. Nah, man, it's never been that way. Not completely. Once again, it's like, and I know I'm thinking in my head because I watched some documentaries on that Steve Aoki guy. Steve Aoki, I think he's Japanese American. Of course, he was in an internment camp, but he was also he's in the United States Army. But he was the dude that supplied firearms to the Black Panthers, And of course, there's a lot of back and forth about whether he was an informant or not, And of course, it was complicated, and he killed himself. I think in like 2009 or something like that. He was like a third worldist, one of those type of dudes. It's like, yeah, trust me, we hate blacks. Exactly. It is what it is. I mean, it's funny to me when you get these types of folks who's like Chicanos, mestizos in prison do work with jogger gangs, while Castizos ally with the Brotherhood. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I've heard, you get like the skinheads and then you get like the Woods and all that. I think I saw that on some video. Like I said, I take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's no surprise, man. So it's like, when you get these type of dudes who just, they live online and they think that they, who just, they read all these books and they read all these studies and they think that they know, but they've never been on the ground, and they don't know the issues that go on. It's the same thing where it's like, they talk about, I was watching this one video and I take this with a grain of salt. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. And you can say I'm full of shit or whatever. Please call me out. But anyway, I was watching this video talking about CHOP, and they're talking about the shooting, the first shooting, and this dude was apparently a rapper, like something Johnson. Not Bumpy Johnson, but like something else, something like that. He was like a aspiring rapper, and this dude was talking to This dude was talking to he did a real estate channel, real estate channel up in Seattle. And apparently he was talking with some Antifa guy. And the Antifa guy was saying, there's just beef. It's just beef between these guys, and they got shot. And of course, meanwhile, people like Vosh, who are like, oh, well, you had to be right wingers that are shooting this and that. Now, of course, they're not going to talk about the details of it, this and that. But, we see that gang shit that's going to happen. I mean, to me, America is not going to become some massive fucking fascist nation. It's like these boomers don't have, boomers are too fat, and a lot of white Americans, I'm just going to say it, me included, we're too fat to be doing all that shit, It's like you can show videos of, but in general, white folks ain't going to be the ones that are going to be, creating some fascist nation, some brown shirt organization is going to come about, unless you want to say that everyone that has a red hat. Nah, man. Gangs are going to take over. I said this before, but gangs are going to take over America, whatever's left of it. Gangs are. No, before the Chinese and the Russians try to take their bit, but at least that's my view anyway. This idea that, oh, well, America's, nah, man. You gotta put that shit into context. A lot of these crackers, they're just too cowardly. They don't want to do that. And you'll see some of them LARPing. They got their armor on and they got their, M4 in their hand. Oh yeah, well, we're gonna go help. That's all they do though. They just, they just say something or they maybe in front of a building saying, oh, we're going to defend this building or something. I don't give a fuck about shit like that. Reality is gangs are going to take over. Whether it's Latin Kings like in Chicago, it's like, oh, well, they fought the cops. Yeah, okay. How do they feel about black folks? They want to keep you the fuck out. They're going to keep black folks out. Latin Kings, like I say, MS-13, Crips and Bloods to a different, I don't know about the details. I mean, that's kind of small, like I say, but various other gangs are going to take charge in certain, at least in the urban centers, outside of the big urban centers. Yeah. You're going to get the neo-Confederates probably. I mean, I like I say, I'm repeating myself, but that's my opinion anyways. Like not the, especially in Texas or whatever, you're going to get the neo-Confederates who are waving the LARPing flags and everything. But ultimately, a lot of those dudes ain't going to be fighting out there. It's just going to be for show. They're not going to do much, But that's my take on it anyway. It's just silly, man. It's just so corny when you see this type of shit talking about integration and we're all going to get along. It's like, nah, man, that's never going to happen. It's like you could live side by side and make the same amount of money, and people are still going to see things differently, man. Different cultures have different, and of course, I know that when they say that, it's like different cultures have different views of how to spend money and use money. It's like that's just how it is. I'm not saying that as a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what it is, man. It's like you can hear these motherfuckers. I mean, it's like I live in the middle of a city, but it's like you can hear these fools popping off fireworks. The cops ain't going to do shit. But you'll hear them. It's July. It's June 29th. It's not even July yet. It's not even July 1st, and they're shooting off fireworks already. I've seen. I was driving through the rich neighborhood today that I go to go to the gym, and they already got bunting up. They already got the bunting up for like the American flag, the red, white, and blue, and the white star bunting. I'm like, what the fuck y'all doing? Just silly. Anyway, I mean, I'm getting off topic. I'm going Mickey Rooney. Sorry there, folks. Not Mickey Rooney. Well, yeah, Mickey Rooney. Yeah, the dude who was on CBS this morning or one of those shows. Like, well, I don't like it. But yeah, I mean, I said, integration is never going to completely happen. It's not. There's always going to be someone who's going to be up front. There's always going to be a group of people who are going to be up front and run the show. And then there's going to be other people who are going to be in the back saying, "Oh yeah, we're respected," Yeah, the fireworks start earlier each year. Yeah, we need to know. Yeah, we'll breathe with Ana de Armas. Ana de Armas. I've heard that name. Let me see here. Ana de. Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, Cuban. Oh, okay. I'm bugging. Okay. Yeah, now I know who that is. Um, I, I probably would. I'll be honest with you. I probably would. I probably would. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna hate. Yeah. There's only two things I can't stand in this world: people who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the blacks. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole difference, man. It's like people are gonna see things differently. They're gonna be raised differently. This and that. Just it's like if you could be friends with a with a black dude. This is the whole thing of, well, racism is learned, this and that. It's like, well, yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, kids don't completely understand the differences between peoples, but that's the reality. Is that, yeah, you can be friends with a black dude, but it's like there's going to be a point where you and him diverge. Unless you have similar circumstances, this and that. But it's like at the end of the day, your ideas are you're gonna diverge, man. I mean, that's my attitude anyway. It's silly to be like, oh, well, we can make it work. And, if only everyone was paid equally and this and that. Oh, well, the thing is, eventually, man, is that separatism is going to come up. But I do support, I say, go ahead and let Puerto Rico be independent. I say, let them get support from Cuba. Let them get some support from Cuba. I say, go ahead and lift the sanctions. Go ahead and let Cuba and Puerto Rico interact, and they can kind of, build up some Boricua, Cubano solidarity. Let them do that. And it's one of those things like it's none of my fucking business. Same thing with black folks. If you want to have a separate nation, by golly, you go ahead. You drop it's like we'll drop the lines. We'll set up a buffer zone, and we'll just keep honkies out. There'll probably be some white lackeys around to keep water. The water treatment plants and all that shit running. But I say, go ahead and start your own. Go ahead. I don't want to be involved. Oh, Cuba belongs to Spain? Okay. All right. I'm not going to, I'm going to let, like I say, ultimately, it's none of my business. I'm going to go back to that. Me being the cracker that I am, it's none of my business. If you're Puerto Rican, if you Cuban, y'all going to have your own loyalties. So go ahead, man. I'm not going to, I'm just going to be one of these white dudes like, it's none of my fucking business. If you want to start your own thing, go ahead. As long as I got mine, I don't care. I'll be straight up honest with you. It's the same thing with the Asians. It's like, if you want Korea united, I would absolutely, if I could vote on paper and say, yeah, the U.S. should leave South Korea completely, 1,000%, absolutely, I would vote for it. Absolutely, I would. I would just say, yep, go ahead and let Korea and, let the two Koreas unite. Now, of course, you need to start identifying as Latino. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'll identify as Latino, baby. That's me. I'm puro. Yeah, it's the puro. North Korea is the only Korea. Now, of course, like I was saying, let me finish up my point that, we've seen the beef between North Korea and South Korea, unfortunately, over these leaflets. I'm not going to get into the details of it. I think it's fucked up on both sides of it. I think it's unfortunate. I think that, a lot of the time, things are drummed up to make it seem like a certain way. But to me, in all honesty, it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's sticky like anything else, man. It's sticky. Well, yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. I mean, same thing with, the Philippines, that's a whole different story. I don't really get into that. That's a whole mess of worms. I wouldn't get involved with that, but it's like, I mean, that's how I feel, man. It's like, another thing too, is that, yeah, I live in the pretty far north in Texas, but I'd be willing to leave Texas and be like, you know what? If you want it back, go ahead and have it, Mexico. Go ahead. That's how I feel at this point. And I've heard this topic, brought up on some Wignat channels that I listen to, and it's like, just give until it hurts. That's the phrase that I heard. Give until it hurts. And honestly, that's how I feel. It's like, why fight over something and lose people of land that you'll eventually lose anyway? You see what I'm saying? Now, that's my attitude anyway. But of course, that's probably what's going to happen. There's going to be some of these boomers and some of these other millennials and younger folks are going to be out there strapped up, and they're going to be fighting over land that they're going to lose anyway. That's going to be sad, man. It's going to be fucking sad. People are going to die for no reason, but it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, nobody wants war, but it's like people have to admit that war is coming. And it is. It is coming. Biden is not going to change anything. The next president is not going to change anything. Trump is definitely not going to change anything. Ain't going to change shit. So this idea that, oh, well, if we, let's harm reduction. I don't give a fuck about no harm reduction. A lot of people don't give a fuck about no damn harm reduction. You get rid of some fucking statues. Nobody gives a fuck, dude. But it's like, once you start coming for people's homes, once you start coming for people's wealth, then motherfuckers going to start fighting. What else do I have to say, man? Really, let me try to bring it back to the center here. Like I say, I feel like Latinos are going to be the ones that are going to be taking over, And it's like, Castillo futurism is definitely the future, because like I say, who are the ones that are doing, the concrete work, the ones that are doing the drywall work, the ones that are doing, where to go. For me, like I say, I would say maybe Montana, Wyoming, that sort of area, maybe North Dakota or South Dakota. Because me, maybe I'll be proven wrong, but in general, not many brothers want to go to Montana. Not many brothers want to go to the Dakotas. Not many brothers want to go to Wyoming. They don't want to do that. They just don't want to. Because there's no work there, and it's not to say it's impossible. Same thing with Latinos. Like, they don't want to go up there. That's not to say it doesn't happen. I'm sure they exist, but that's but to me that's going to be where a lot of honkies are going to go. They're going to go up places like Montana, Granbury, Texas. Yeah. I've heard about Granbury. I can't think of. Is that the one that was like 90-something% white? Granbury, Texas. I'm trying to think about it. Honestly, I just don't know about Texas, man. I just, for me, it's just Texas is such a huge place. Like, maybe Texas will break off into, Texas could break up, into different countries. That could happen. Because, like, where I live, there's obviously a lot of Latinos, but it's still a fairly conservative area, this and that. Whereas it's more progressive, you obviously in El Paso and like, DFW and Austin and Houston. So I don't know, man. It could sorry. It could split. I'm not sure. I don't know, man. It's interesting to think about, though. It really is. It's an interesting thought. This is something that's always been popping around my head. Like I say, let me just make sure here before I say anything else that I don't wish for anything to happen. I don't wish for violence to happen. I don't wish for wars to happen. But it's going to happen. That's the addendum I put on, because a lot of folks just like, well, I'm against violence, or I'm this. Yeah, we are all against violence. But guess what? Eventually, violence is going to happen. All right? Violence is going to happen. Someone's going to get smacked in the head. People, I remember a story in 2017 about white people in Montana, possible ethnol state. Yeah. I've seen some Wignats that did try to do that. They would try to buy up towns and buy up land. Who knows, man? But that's what I would say. I'll just finish with that, though, is I don't wish for it. I don't wish for the violence, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But I'm just going to say, if you think that, these BLM protests are going to be the same type of way and BLM protests are going to be the way forward, that's a damn lie. At least in my view, that's a damn lie. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Yeah, they've been trying to do that in Ohio since at least the 1970s. Oh, okay. And Idaho, yeah, I've driven through, Ohio, but I don't really know that much. But I would say the same type is that, the violence is going to happen, and it's going to be racially based. It is. Let's make no mistake about it. It's going to be racially based. Just because you have a bunch of white flunkies doesn't mean, oh, well, we're integrated. BLM is integrated because we have some white flunkies. Those white flunkies are just going to, the white women especially, they're just going to be used as, as fuck buddies. That's all they are. And I don't say that as, oh, they're taking our women. No, they cease to be my women. She belonged to the streets. That's how I feel about it. So these white women that join BLM, or the white women that are part of those, demonstrations, they belong to the streets. That's how I feel. You belong to the streets, honey. You don't belong to me. That's my attitude anyway. So I don't know. I like to ramble and I like to talk shit, but ultimately I gotta wait for my parents. My mom's gonna get a new AC. Hers is about to give out, so they're gonna come back and I'm gonna help get it set up. So I think I should probably go, just in case they start honking like, well, we're they want me out there. They don't want me to fuck around. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this here. Yeah, BLM will sacrifice Karens. Absolutely, they will. Absolutely. So, I don't know what's going to happen, man. Like I say, it may be 20 years. It may be next year. Who the fuck knows? Yeah, new split unit. It's a window unit. We're just going to do a window unit. I would love to get a, who knows about it? They don't know about mini splits or anything else like that. Or a or a system, like an actual central AC unit. They don't want to do that. Like I say, I used to work in HVAC, and I know that's a kick in the balls, but I don't know, man. Anyway, I think we got it sized right. We found one I think that'll fit the right way. That way it won't be the coil won't freeze up, hopefully. But I think I'll keep it there. Is there anything else y'all want to say? I know y'all are kind of Uncle Thomas is Phineas priesthood pill. Okay. Phineas priesthood. Like Phineas and Ferb? What? I don't know about that. I'm just bugging. But I'll let y'all, if y'all are going to talk in the chat a little bit, I can let y'all talk for a minute. And but I think I'm done talking though, really. I really think I'm done talking because it's just a lot of fake hua going on. A lot of these folks trying to trick people and act like it's going to be all good and stuff like that. It's like, I don't believe that, man. I'm never going to, I'm not down on that level. But anyway, I'm going to end it there, though. I appreciate everyone commenting, including Weebaboo, GSP, Glasnow. Of course, post-Nazbol, Judaism. I appreciate all the comments and everything else. I'm glad that y'all are chopping it up between each other and talking. And I think I'll keep it there. Like I said, I'm going to wait for, and Joseph Alchikawi. I appreciate you making your comments known and everything. And I think I'll keep it there. So anyways, y'all have a good one. See you later.